see what you're doing, to see what you're doing. And because a lot of people have the ability to see what you're doing, they also have the ability very easily to copy you. And in the internet age, we see a lot of copycats. Why is that? Because people think, okay, I'm cold, y'all. I'm very cold in this office. People see the glow up, right? Or they see that you're using a brand. They see that people are responding to it. They see that people are responding to a particular name that you utilize. And instead of building out their own name, they either directly copy you, meaning they will use the exact same business name that you're using on their products, on their services, on their flyers, or they'll use a similar name. But the best thing trademarks is, and I see your question here. I'm gonna get to it in just 1 minute about the cost of a trademark. If you are even not, let's say you're not even copying someone's name directly. Let's say what you do is you make it confusingly similar. Like it's not exactly the same, but it's really, really similar. So I don't know. For Hustle Mommies, it's kind of hard. I don't know what would be really, really similar. Oh, well, if you do like Hustle Moms Limited, like that's very similar. Like that shouldn't be allowed to sell the same products and services that you sell. So the cost of a trademark, if you use an attorney for me to do the whole process, it's like a 9+ month process. Sometimes it involves brief writing, et cetera, et cetera. I charge a flat rate of $2,000, and I allow businesses to get on a payment plan with me to do that. And I have a few clients whose payment plans are over, so I'm filing submit next week on a few really exciting trademarks that I'm so excited about. So I would look, if you want to get it done this year with a lawyer, then just start making payments. I have people who've made like $150 payments, something that wouldn't break their business bank for several months every 2 weeks so that they can actually start paying for the trademarking process. And I call it the Lawyer on Layaway program. And it's a great program for people who are like, I know I need to get this done. I know that if I wait, I'm not going to do it. I know tax season is coming up. So I'm just going to give you this $150 every 2 weeks or however you decide to do your payments. And then you can get your trademark registered. But I also have a class called Get the Tea on Trademarks, where I teach people how to file their own federally registered trademark applications. And I also tell them very honestly about the pitfalls of doing so. So, that's that. But in the digital age, you run a lot of different risks with people copying your brand, not just in the US, but internationally. So when you have your US trademark, you have some options that you can use to actually file your trademark internationally. So there's a group of countries, I think it's about 117 that have come together, and they allow you to get some protection based on like you could do one filing, okay, and get some international protections in a variety of other countries, like a lot of the countries that you would traditionally see. A lot of the countries that you would traditionally do business in, I believe, would be in there. And so you want to keep that in mind, that there are some options, but the first step is getting it filed domestically. That's going to be your first step at all times. So you really don't want to be the person who is, one, hoping that you can get your brand trademarked and you don't know, or two, you're just out here like no trademark, hoping that common law rights protect you, because then what typically happens is people call, they're like, okay, I know I need to get this done. It's like going to the dentist. Let me just get it done. I'm gonna start paying on it now. Good. That's good. The other way people call me is like, oh my God, somebody is using my name. I want to stop it. And they don't have a federally registered trademark. And so although you can send a cease and desist without one, getting damages is almost null and void. Like you're not going to get any money. And two, no real business. I've actually had a business that was selling a product that it was like my product. For some reason, they were selling like my nonprofit shirts in their boutique. They weren't giving us a cut. It was like crazy. And I'm like, first off, that's our logo. You can't use that. And he was like, well, prove it. Like we literally had to show him proof that we owned it via trademark, copyright. Because for shirts, so this is the shirt that I don't know if you all can't see it on Facebook, but essentially I have a shirt with my nonprofit logo on it. And the name of the nonprofit is the Kirkwood Foundation. So for this shirt, you would actually have to, if you have an adornment, like something on a particular shirt, that wouldn't fall under trademark, that would fall under copyright, because it would be filed as a piece of art, technically, right? That's how you can think of it. But the actual brand name, so the tag name that's on the shirt, the actual name of the designer would be on like a tag that would fall under trademark. So those are kind of the things. Yeah, those are some of the things that you want to consider. So, I'll say this a lot. Some if you have like specific questions. So, hustle mommies unity, hustle mama unity. You could you could make the argument that's confusingly similar, especially if they do the same thing as you. So a lot of it is what argument are you going to make to show that it's confusingly similar. And the thing that you do when someone is copying you is you send a cease and desist, or you can send them a letter asking them to pay you some money because you'd be willing to license out the name for a particular price. So you do have some options, but ideally the lawyer who, because I think Ariel, you said you have a trademark, right? So like I would ask I don't know how other lawyers operate. Typically when someone hires me to do their trademark, if during the process they have a one-off question, I'm not charging them for that, if that makes sense. I don't know how other lawyers do that, but I also it's why I do flat fee, 'cause I don't want people to feel like they have to pay every single time they want to talk to me. But sometimes you do. If you need another consult, you need another consult. I can't do nothing about that. But for those of you who have one-off questions, then yeah, okay. So you have the trademark. Yeah. So you should one, you could send the letter yourself, to send a cease and desist letter. Or you could have your lawyer send a cease and desist letter. I think people always take it more seriously if your lawyer sends it. You could have another lawyer. You could talk to me and we could work out something and I send a cease and desist letter for you. But if it's confusingly similar and you think that people could get confused about the two brands, and that's the test. It's hard to determine more than that without using case law. Now, this is why. So some people are like, well, why do I need a lawyer? I can do all this myself. If you've never heard of case law, you can't do it yourself, boo, because case law is what lawyers do. So lawyers go to, no, you're not losing your mind. That's actually, I think that would be confusingly similar if they do the same thing as you. So case law, when you send your cease and desist letter, the way that you make it impactful and the way that you make people actually want to respond to it and do something about it is you put in their cases in which there have been similar cases where a judge has found that in a similar circumstances there has been infringement, and then you put in the damages. So like when I write my cease and desist letters, it's like, yes, as in case, name like 5 cases here, or sometimes I'll do what we call in the law string citing to 5 or 6 different cases that are relevant to my client's situation. And I'll say, and in all those cases, damages averaged out to be like $500,000. So I advise you stop. I mean, I write a mean cease and desist letter. I'm not going to lie. So if you're interested in that, you can just book a consult with me. If you already have your trademark and you want to cease and desist letter, great. If you're like, okay, I need to get my trademark, or I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my brand, then we should actually do a consultation. And you would just go to mobilegeneralcounsel.com to do a consultation. But there are some people on who, for those of you who don't have your trademark, do you mind telling me why you don't have it already? Like, no judgments, because I get this. Being a business owner, there are so many things we need to do. So many things. So if you don't have it, like, I'm not judging your reason. I just like to know why people have not protected it. And sometimes they don't know. But other times it's like, okay, well, I just have been busy. The other reason is cost. Okay. And I post the link on Facebook to schedule a consult. For Instagram, you can click the link in my bio. If you're on my firm page, which some of you are, you should go to Mobile General Counsel to book that consultation. And it's just mobilegeneralcounsel.com. Okay. Yeah. So there's 2 ways to do this whole thing. So the one way, of course, cost, moving job, that makes sense. The one way, of course, to do your trademark is to hire a lawyer to do it. That's the easiest way to do it, obviously, because then it's going to be done right. And by done right, I mean filed correctly. There's no guarantee whenever you file a trademark that it'll get approved, because there's not like a constitutional right to a trademark. So you have to apply, and it's up to the federal government. But putting your application in the hands of an attorney gives you the best chances of getting it approved if you have a competent attorney, because then they're going to make sure everything is on the up and up. And if they have to fight for your mark, like filing a brief or combating their decision or appealing the trademark office's decision, they're going to be prepared to do that. And that is where good legal research and writing come in, because it's really important. So you want to make sure that you do that. So those are the things that I'd recommend. But the other way to do it, I have a class called Get the Tea on Trademarks, where I actually teach people how to file their own federally registered trademark application, which you all can find at bit.ly bit.ly/TON-TM. So it is in the link in my bio, bit.ly. This is really hard to write and type. /TON-TM. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So you can go there and take the class. The class is $199. You can use code Ashley, ASHLEY, to get a to get a discount on the class. I think it's $20 or $25 off the class. So yeah, so some people get their LLC. Yeah, so here's the thing. LLC, INC, all that stuff, that just protects you. That's like for tax reasons. That's for tax reasons, and it protects you if someone were to sue you. They wouldn't be able to come for your personal home if you have an actual business entity set up. But trademarks protect you from copycats, essentially. So think of it like that. Like if you don't want anyone copying you, you don't want anyone using your brand name because they are going to, confuse your clients or kind of use some of your brand equity to make money, then you want to get your brand trademarked. Okay, so you can do that bit.ly/TON-TM. And I came up with the class because I know that a lot of people are like, okay, I don't know. I can't afford to hire you for $2,000, but I know that you know what you're doing and I'd like to take your class. And the class, I actually file a trademark application live, not for a client, of course, but for my own personal use it. So I file a for one of my own personal slogans or brands that you can literally see how to do it. And some people follow along and are able to do it during the class. Other people take the class and they're like, nope, I absolutely do not want to do this, because you have to certify when you file it yourself that you're not doing anything that is, you have to basically certify that you're not making any knowingly false statements to the federal government. And when you certify that, anything you certify federally opens you up to federal liability. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing and you have some basis of understanding for the process. However, if you take the class, you will at least learn how to protect your brand a little bit more. And that's always good, because if you're an entrepreneur who doesn't have a lawyer on staff, you want to know how to continuously protect your brand even after you're done working with your particular attorney. Okay, so I recommend the class for everyone who does not have a trademark. That is the low-hanging fruits. That's like the thing you can do now to start protecting your brand. And the next class is next Tuesday, March 26th. So that's the next class that I have coming up. It's that Tuesday evening. Yep, the 26th, Tuesday evening. So it's a really good class. I really enjoy it. It's my third time doing the class. Each time I do it, we get really good reviews. Some of those reviews are on the Eventbrite page, so you can read over the reviews from people who've taken the class and how they've been able to get themselves protected. And you at least have a lawyer. You at least will know a trademark attorney. So when you run into complications or you decide halfway through the process you want to work with me, that's fine. You can email me and then I can help you out if you run into some issues with getting office actions. Because it's not just filing the application, it is managing the process thereafter. So when you get an inquiry from the federal government, how do you respond? When you are questioned, when you're asked questions about your application, what do you do? So the Get the Tea on Trademarks class is an awesome way for you to learn what even those words mean. So if you're like, I don't know what an office action is, because they ask you for a specimen. If you're like, I don't know what a specimen is. So the class will walk through those things and teach you what you need to know in order to protect your brand from that vantage point. So I do recommend that. And do you all have any questions so far about the class, my services working with me? Okay, so here's what everyone should be doing. If you're going to use one, I should go over some basics. A trademark is anything that separates your brand from another brand. So think about it, baby fat versus FUBU. How do you know that something is baby fat? You see that logo, that signals to you that it's baby fat. Someone who, there is a question here. Okay, so FUBU, those are two different clothing brands. You separate them by their brand names and names. The question that I have here on Instagram is, I believe I should trademark my name and my main logo. So this is my thoughts on that. The more money your business makes, typically the better your logo gets, the better your branding gets, the better your brand color gets, the better your website gets. However, when you are first starting out, before you hit that 7-figure mark or 8-figure mark, whatever your method of success is for your business monetarily, typically you're working within what you got. So I always recommend trademarking the name of your business. That'll give you the broadest protection. If someone else were to come around and use your business name in another logo or a logo that looks similar to yours, you could still send them a cease and desist, because it's about whether or not that would be confusingly similar to the brand that you have to the brand name that you have trademarked. So that's my thought. Like, I think the broadest protection is going to come from protecting your name. If you can afford to trademark both, then yeah, of course, like trademark both, why not? But if you foresee your logo changing, and a lot of people typically do change their logos, then get your brand name trademarked first and then go from there. And then once you are solid on your logo, then you can get that changed. I actually changed my logo. I'm going to change my logo for my firm. So I really don't even use it. I don't really like it that much. So I will change that. I won't tell you all who did it. It doesn't really matter. They're not even, it's not a big deal. But I don't love the logo. So I don't really use my firm's logo. I just use the name. So I worked on, before I even really simultaneously with taking my first client, I got my name trademarked, because I didn't want to play around with that. And like some people, they set up their LLC first, they set up their incorporation first. I paid to get my trademark done first, because I knew that one, no one's gonna, like, with an LLC, people can still copy me, and what can impact my business or hurt my business the most, and what's most likely to hurt my business, is someone coming up and seeing that I have Mobile General Counsel and seeing that it's a growing brand, and then calling their firm Mobile GC or Mobile General Counsel or General Counsel on Wheels. You know what I mean? Like, any of that would actually be more damaging to me than more probable that it would happen first before being sued. Typically, to be sued, you got to get some, you have to have clients in order to sue you. You have to do something wrong in order for them to sue you. You have to breach a contract. You have to have contracts. So those are all things that typically will lead to lawsuit. But when I thought about the probabilities of what I'm going to do first, then it was really, for me, I actually did my trademark first. That was what I did first. So for people who are wondering, how to prioritize, one, an LLC is pretty cheap. At least in Illinois, it's pretty cheap. So get your LLC, because there's no reason not to. But for people who have brand names that they're building, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're selling products and services online, get your trademark. And at minimum, take the Get the Tea on Trademarks class if you can't hire a lawyer to do it. Or you can talk to a lawyer to make sure, you can talk to me, we could do a consult and actually make sure that your name is one that is the best name, especially if you are considering changing your brand name, or you want to make sure that your brand name is updated to include everything that you need. So you want to make sure, like, if you're in the process of determining what you're going to call your company, and you want to figure out whether this name can be trademarked, or whether the name has a decent probability of being trademarked, or what names have the best probability of being trademarked, or what you should do first in order of liability, which will determine on the type of company that you have, how long you've been in business, what's the probability of you being sued. And it's hard to evaluate all of that without speaking to a lawyer. And when you think of Mobile General Counsel, the reason that my firm is named what it is because not only do I provide legal advice, but I provide business advice to my clients. So I'm always thinking of like, okay, but does this make business sense? And not all lawyers do both. But when you think of a general counsel, that's the person at the company who moves the needle forward on growth in the company from a legal perspective, and they provide business and legal advice. So for my clients, even though they are emerging and growing businesses, I am always thinking about, okay, well, how do we move the needle forward on your business? How do we ensure growth? How do we make sure that you're moving forward in a way that's legal, that won't get you caught up in a lawsuit in a little bit? Or if you're like, I'm going to risk it, then I help them to evaluate the risks associated with the particular action that they choose. Because sometimes you do have to take risks in business. And I understand that. And I think that is why that's kind of the what makes Mobile GC different is the business and legal advice. So my undergraduate degree is in international business from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. My law degree is from Northwestern University School of Law in Chicago. It's a top 10 law school in the country. I graduated with honors because your girl don't play about them grades. At least in law school, I didn't. In undergrad, I did, but in law school, I did not. I was serious about it. And I went on to work at Kirkwood and Ellis. And while there, I was able to see the veracity, I think that's the right word, of counsel that these big clients were getting. I mean, we were working around the clock. We were accessible. We were doing whatever we needed to do to please them. Kirkland is just like, if you work at a big firm and your firm, if you work at a big company and your company hires Kirkland and Ellis, you can bet your bottoms dollar you're getting the best legal advice you can get. It is an exceptional law firm. And I don't even work there anymore. So, I have no reason to say that, but just seeing the just like the bossness of the lawyers that I work with, it's just an off the chain law firm. So they're a great firm. And after working there for awesome partners who've done amazing work for large corporations, I worked on trials for Allstate, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I worked on trials for like really, really large companies all across the country. And after seeing that, I was like, man, I wonder if smaller and emerging, I like emerging. I wonder if emerging businesses have this level of legal advice or have even seen how lawyers for billion-dollar brands operate and how they negotiate and how they provide service and, just have they gotten that experience? And from the entrepreneurs that I talked to, they hadn't, because not all lawyers have that experience. And when you think about Black lawyers, I was the only Black woman in litigation. So it's even less, right? So for me, having seen that, I want to provide a high level of service to emerging businesses because we all deserve that. And with that, you then have the confidence to move forward and make moves in your brand. Whenever you're getting wise counsel, good advice, you have a solid team behind you, it propels your ability to grow. So all that being said, you should, I always say for businesses, there's two people you should talk to when you're starting out and every year thereafter, and that's a lawyer and an accountant, period. Because a lawyer is going to make sure that you don't, hopefully will give you advice to help protect you from getting sued or analyze your risks. An accountant should help the IRS stay away. You don't want the IRS coming from you, and you don't want to be served with a lawsuit for something you've done in your business. So because of that, I always recommend that you talk to those two people. To work with me, just go to mobilegeneralcounsel.com and schedule a consult. If you do not have a trademark and you want to do a trademark consult, they're on special right now for just $99. The trademark consultation is just $99. So go ahead and do that. And if you want to take the class, it's next week. So register ASAP. Use code Ashley to get $20 off the class, and just go to bit.ly/TONTM. And that is bit.ly. Hopefully you all can remember this. I tried to make it short. /TONTM. And I've also posted it on my pages so that you can take this class. And if you're going to join the class after you register, I love when you guys send me messages like, I registered for the class, I'll be there. So just let me know that you registered, and I will be ready to host you next week, Tuesday. It's going to be an awesome class. Learn to file your own federally registered trademark application, protect your brand. And for those of you out there now, so I want to give you something you can do now to start protecting your brand. Put a Google alert out there on your business name. You should know what's being said about your name, or if something comes up that's that uses any key term in your business name, you want to kind of know about it and see how it's being used so that you can monitor what's going on with it. There are professional trademark monitoring services that you can buy that will help you to professionally monitor your name after you have it filed. Typically, you pay a monthly fee for that. And if someone is infringing now, you should send them a cease and desist. You should start using the TM symbol after your name if you're not trademarked, and the register symbol that if you're on Facebook, look, for the Hustle Mommies has it behind their name. So you can look at that if you are a registered trademark owner. But I don't see any more questions. Let me know if you all have some. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're not, an LLC does not protect someone from stealing your business name. The state that you're in may not allow someone to file their business for the exact same name, but they will let them file it for a slight variation typically, and other states definitely aren't monitoring that. And the states just aren't checking for trademark infringement. They don't have the resources to do that, or I don't know why they do it, but I whenever I hear state or city, I'm always like, oh, they probably don't have the resources. So they don't check for that for whatever reason, but you should definitely make sure that you have your brand protected. It's really, really important. If you have any questions or you want to know more about the class, just shoot me a message and I'm happy to answer your questions.